Here we have a pair of watches from Hamilton, the Khaki Field Mechanical with a black dial and the Khaki Field Mechanical with a white dial. There's no question that the Khaki Field Mechanical is one of Hamilton's most popular offerings and a very popular choice among watch lovers in general. But the question is, which one should you go for? Given that both of these watches are essentially the same inside and out, I'll be focusing on their main points of difference, the dial. These two in particular are coming in at 38mm, and we are getting a black versus white dial here, but each have their own nuances which, in my opinion, give them very different looks and sensations that go beyond a simple colour difference. Of the two, the black dial is going to be the more classic timepiece, drawing from Hamilton's military history with a close resemblance to the original Khaki Field, which of course had a black dial. It innately exudes a ruggedness that is fitting of the watch and its heritage, and when compared to the white dial variant, there's no doubt that the black dial has the more tool-like appearance. The white dial, while lacking in its link to heritage versus the black dial, does still share the same properties, giving us the same Khaki Field form factor and function with a twist. Where the black dial leans into its past, the white dial has a modern edge. It has a more cleaner and streamlined look to it, despite sharing the same font and layout, and the main culprit for this is the contrasting elements and the effects they have on our perception. On the black dial, we're getting white numerals and minute markings, and on the white dial, we get the opposite, black numerals and black minute markings. Black in general is known to have a slimming effect, whereas white is known to have an enlarging effect. This is definitely the case here between the two watches, where the white elements on the black Khaki Field appear larger and more prominent than the black numerals and markings on the white dial Khaki. This in turn creates an illusion of a more spacious or open dial on the white Khaki Field compared to the black, and I also find the inner 24-hour scale a lot more legible and noticeable on the black dial as opposed to the one found on the white. The printing on the black dial Khaki just has a greater contrast to it overall, and the white dial, while still extremely legible, doesn't have as much contrast due to its brighter backdrop. The white numerals and markings do stand out a lot more than those on the white dial, but it does make the black Khaki Field appear a little crowded when the two are placed side by side, which is a big contributor to the overall appearance of each watch. Just like the numerals, the hands of each watch follow suit. White hands filled with lume for the black, and black hands filled with lume for the white. This small difference makes for quite a large impact in the way the faux patina is presented. Looking at the two, the white dial seems to have a deeper, more saturated hue of patina, but upon closer inspection, they're pretty much the same tinge of orange, and it's precisely their bordering colours that influence the way the lume is perceived. Like how the black Khaki Field promotes greater contrast with a black dial, the black handset of the white Khaki Field facilitates a greater level of contrast between the hands themselves and the added lume, tricking us into seeing a more intense colour. This doesn't seem to be a coincidence either, as Hamilton went a step further and doubled down on this look by adding black outlines for the hour marker lume plots on the white dial, which is something that's absent on the black variants, as its lume plots aren't outlined at all. The faux patina looks like faux patina on the black Khaki Field, as intended, but on the white dial, I see it more as accents of colour, and it's this distinction that allows the two to have completely different looks while still remaining similar. The black Khaki Field has a serious tone to it, function focused with a clear emphasis on legibility and heritage. It's the watch that comes to mind when I think of a field watch, and in some ways, it is the quintessential field watch. It provides a slice of the past, not straying far from the DNA of its predecessor, and has become an icon for Hamilton and an icon in the watch world in general. The white Khaki Field in turn has all the great hallmarks of a field watch, but its simple shift in colour adds an element of playfulness to it, as opposed to the tactical, field-ready composition of the black dial. Its white dial makes it appear larger despite being the same size, and has an open, airy feel to it that gives it an adventurous spirit and is especially true when we pair them up with straps. Both khaki fields will work well with a wide variety of straps given their neutral dials. However, I think the white khaki field edges out the black slightly in terms of versatility. Its white dial pairs easier with straps of all colors and materials, and while we are talking about field watches here, I find it much easier to dress up compared to the black khaki field and just fits into a wider range of situations much better. Now, that's not to say you can't do the same with the black dial, because you absolutely can. However, the way its dial elements pop against the black make it clear that it's a field watch, so it will always have that tool watch aesthetic about it. It of course looks fantastic on a range of straps itself, and I think it works better with darker tones compared to the white dial, but will look more out of place in formal occasions. If you're purely after a field watch, the black khaki field is hands down the one to go for. It ticks all the boxes of what you'd want from a field watch, and it's one of the most iconic out there at a reasonable price point. It's loaded with heritage and history and has remained relatively faithful to its origin with subtle changes, so you're sure to have a timeless timepiece. The white dial, on the other hand, is a fantastic choice for those who want something a little different from the usual black dial khaki field we all know and love. You're still getting the same structure and ruggedness, but with added versatility and a brighter, light-hearted side thanks to its white dial and the way the faux patina accents the watch with a subtle pop. Both khaki fields are great watches, and you can't really go wrong with either one. They each share many of the same aspects in their overall design and construction, but their slight differences give them their own individuality while maintaining familiarity. I personally gravitate towards the white khaki field, and it's the one I personally own. I find it to be the more interesting timepiece, and it comes back to the way it emphasizes the color of its lume that continues to draw me in, like candles warming an icy white dial. That being said, the black khaki field is in its own tier of special, and I'm considering adding one to my personal collection. The white dial can't compete with its long-standing link to heritage and its undeniable DNA. The watch is the go-to field watch and has influenced many others along the way, and without it, we wouldn't have the white dial version to begin with. It represents more than just a field watch, and despite how renowned it has become, it exudes a humbleness that brings it down to earth. Let me know what you think about each watch, and if you own any of these, I'm interested in hearing about your experiences with them. Thank you for checking out the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more watch content. I'll see you in the next one.